Hey guys, JUCIY Yields here. This is another weekly portfolio video. But before I get into the numbers of kind of, each of the things that we're following, I want to actually go over a possibility, take this with a grain of salt, a possibility of the new Yield Boost ETFs from Granite Share could potentially be coming out tomorrow. So tomorrow is the 28th. And typically, the last few delays from Granite Share have been on Fridays, and it extends until the next Friday, and so on and so forth, right? So Friday to Friday, Friday to Friday, Friday to Friday. Well, this last Friday, they sent out um, this one, which says October 24th, which is a Monday. I'm thinking there's actually a possibility that this comes out tomorrow, which would be awesome. Um, I'm hoping that's the case too, because these have been so delayed that obviously a lot of people in the community are not very happy, frankly. Um, so yeah. And then another thing is there was this from Thompson Hine, which is basically came out the same day, so this last Friday. Essentially going over each of the ETFs that are coming out. So all of the Yield Boost ETFs, as well as I think these are their existing ETFs, possibly. I'm actually not too familiar with their normal ETFs, but you can see that there's essentially this for our opinion, in connection with the filing of post-effective amendment number 72, blah 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 blah. So that also has never happened in a part of these delays. I'm kind of curious. And you can see here, we hereby give you our permission to file this opinion with the Securities, so the SEC, as an exhibit of to the PEA number 72. This opinion may not be filed with any subsequent amendment or incorporated by reference into subsequent amendment without our prior written consent. Um, so I'm curious in this case, right? Like I said, hasn't happened before. And this goes over those Yieldboost ETFs as well. So I'm pretty excited. Um, but yeah, sorry. Let's go over the weekly portfolio. Again, take that with a grain of salt. Fingers crossed it's actually coming out. But moving on. So a little bit of a down week. Now, something I should point out is this is actually technically more than it shows, right? It's kind of why I don't like Robinhood's like distinction of the portfolio value sometimes, because when you mix dividends into the mix of things, it kind of gets a little bit wonky. So yes, last week was kind of a deadly week for us where we lost $34. On top of that, we actually gained $90 from dividends, and I'll go over that a little bit later for each of those. But if you do the math there, that would mean that we actually lost in capital appreciation, or like depreciation, I guess can call it. What, like $120 or something, almost $130 actually, which is a lot, right? But it's also not the end of the world, right? That's not actually that much, and I'll explain why this also went down. But one thing that, like I said, we actually have like $168 worth of cash just lying in our thing. And during this video, I'm going to sell off AMC. Actually, I'll move that to later this video. And then we'll be able to kind of roll that into another ETF. So moving on to each of the individual ETFs here. So we have USD with 2.18%, which is very good. Looking at 19% total return. And that's also, like I said, with that addition of the, what was it, like $308 that we put into it. So that's exciting. I honestly, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for this. USD has been, I think I mentioned this in the last video, has been like exceptional in the last like 5 years, 3 years, and the last year, which not a lot of ETFs did very good 3 years ago because that was around the time, between COVID and the 22 um, crashes. A lot of ETFs got killed between those times. So, but this one actually stood very strong, which is why I was very interested in it. And like I said in a lot of my earlier videos, I feel very good about the semiconductors sector because I personally feel like these are going to stay around for a little bit longer at least. I can see these staying around for the next like 2 years minimum. And that's like being very like, strict on it. I think these could last 5+ years though. Semiconductors. I'm not sure about specifically USD, but because it's a leveraged fund. But yeah, who knows? Moving on to Nvidia, almost a 3% up from last week, which I'm actually very happy about. We're we're reducing we're reducing our total return loss, which is very happy. Or I'm very happy to see that. I think this was like 9% like a few weeks ago. So seeing that kind of percentage is very happy. Again, I just said it. I'm very happy. It's very good to see that. So yeah, and then I think we got our last dividend on the 11th, which was for $17, which is lower than the other two, but who knows? Hopefully that can be a consistent thing in the future. This is still around our average cost, so I'm probably going to keep NVIDIA for a little bit longer. As predicted, though, and I mentioned this also in my earlier videos, I do think they're slowing down quite a bit. So, only time will tell. Yeah. Moving on to XDTE, 1.23% down, which is honestly somewhat surprising, I guess. If you look at the underlying, it kind of makes sense. So, I'll actually look at SPY here. And you can see on the week, it's down 1.2%. So actually, XDTE, if you look at it this way, is actually up from the underlying a little bit by 0.01%. So, but again, these are kind of expected. I'm not very scared at all. That's not a humongous movement. And this is one of the ETFs that got paid out last Friday. So we got $1.36, which is very exciting because this is our first payment from XDTE, and we're obviously going to get this weekly. So that's kind of why we did it. And then I think this is probably the most like prime candidate for the AMSI funds and the current cash we have in our portfolio to be rolled over into. So yeah. Moving on to XPXL. Similar thing, obviously, is a leverage fund, so this is going to go down a little bit more. It does suck, obviously, because this last week, well, it was, I guess, 6.5 shares. So I get what, seven? Let's just say 7 times 7 or something. It went down $50 or something like that for us, which is a lot, but it's not a lot to be honest. If you look at the total, so I don't really mind a whole lot. Our total return is actually still up, and we have the most market value in here, so I don't mind at all. And you can see our average cost is still well below the current cost, so I'm happy about that. Coney, no, I don't know what I was thinking. I think Coney has an earnings report coming up somewhat soon. Do they have that here? I don't. Oh, I guess it would be on here, be on coin. Let's check that real quick. Yeah, 2 days. So it's gonna be during this week. So this is going to be a make or break. I think the last time they had earnings, let's see, I think they have it here too. Yeah, they didn't make as much as I think people anticipated. So fingers crossed they actually do very good. I heard rumors that people think that this is actually going to outperform. So I really hope they do. And the main reason for that is because in the last, 3 months, um, Bitcoin itself, I guess not 3 months, but like the last month, Bitcoin itself has gone up a lot. You can see here. So fingers crossed their earnings have really shined through this last month. But only time will tell, of course. Um, but yeah, this is a massive down. Like I'm actually surprised. Maybe a lot of people are trying to get out before the earnings report. I don't know. I'm gonna stay in here for a little bit longer just because this is my biggest yield max fund. So I'm not, you know, I don't know. I don't know. It is kind of obviously risky, but I think we can stay in here. Now I will say if Coney or Coinbase has a bad earnings report, this could go very south. So I'll do some thinking in the middle of the week before the earnings to whether or not we should sell off a little bit to like potentially offset our risk. But like the reason why is it's currently at 1370, which is, a betting earnings report is in the territory of a potential reverse split. So I really hope that's not the case, but we'll see. Moving on to Misty, we have 9% down, but this was kind of expected for two reasons. One, obviously, we got the dividend payment, which was a whopping $4 per share, $4 and like 10 cents or something crazy. $4.20. Absolutely amazing thing. $93 off of our our amount right now. So I'm very happy with that. So obviously it went down that percent or that amount, as well as a lot of people trying to get out of here because they think it's overbought. And I kind of agree, it is very high. But I'm currently above the average cost, so I'm holding it here for a little bit longer at least. So yeah. And then lastly, MZ 4% down, which is just it's just so annoying. Like I feel like everyone is getting out right before I was gonna get out. But like I said, I'm gonna sell this now. I was hoping to get around 300, and that's about what we're doing. So we're gonna sell all of them right now. Hopefully this goes up about, when the market opens. Fingers crossed. Let's see if there's any movement here. Oh, I don't think this is a 24-hour one, maybe. But who knows? Um, Hopefully we were able to kind of sink that all into a more stable and like better paying fund. Like I said, XDT is like the prime candidate for that. Obviously it has a lower yield, but the NAV is very stable. So we'll see, but let's just hit the big sell button. And I'll update you guys obviously next week on what we kind of buy with that money. And yeah. Now, I wanted to show you guys also, I'm thinking about moving to M1 Finance for a various reasons. I actually was between Robinhood and M1 Finance initially, but I strayed away from M1 Finance because the monthly fee of $3, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but it isn't a lot, really. I was just being kind of picky, especially because I didn't know how well YieldMax and really, high yield dividends in general were going to perform and how stable they were going to be. Because obviously that brings down technically our profit each month. But I think I'm at a point in our portfolio where this would be something that makes sense. It's kind of annoying because for my people, the people following me, I did start on SoFi, moved to Robinhood, and now I'm potentially moving to M1. So that's obviously a lot of switches. But there's a few things that I like about M1. First being their dividend tracker is a lot better than Robinhood's. Robinhood doesn't have one besides, the notifications, and as long as you go to each of the individual tickers you own and scroll down to the bottom of the page to see your previous payments, it's just not that well. It's not that good. And they actually on M1 Finance, I can't show you now because I don't have any dividend payments, but they have like a bar chart of previous payments and stuff like that, which is really nice. Um, Obviously, there's going to be some changes where on M1 Finance, there's two technical trade windows. which is kind of weird. So I can't really just trade in the middle of the day. But I'm not a day trader at all, anyways, so I don't really mind. I typically buy stuff at market open, anyways, like or sell stuff at market open, anyways, like we just did with AMZ, because I don't really believe in timing the market, and neither should you. So, but what I'm going to be able to do now is kind of track different sections of the portfolio as a total. So for example, on this one, I have TQQQ and BTOL. This is kind of my potential uh, pseudo retirement fund. I've done a lot of testing behind the scenes, back testing, and looking at, just everything historical about the this kind of portfolio setup, and I'm happy to have chosen these two tickers. It's a very simple portfolio, and this should provide me above the S&P 500 while minimizing my risk. So the nice thing about this, though, is I can have different pies, is what they call them. So I can have a pie for my funds for this account, essentially, and then I can split, or I can have another pie for the dividends. And let's say I want to put 70% in this account and 30% into the dividends account. I can do that. And furthermore, you can see that there's target values for each of these different tickers, so that's 50% each. What I can do as well is I can do that for the dividends as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to go that far in, so actually, what that would mean is, let's say that 30% that I'm assigning to that pie, now the 30% is distributed, a specific way to where each of the funds gets as close to the target as it can. But yeah, I'm not quite sure yet. I've only just started this account a little bit ago. So yeah, 23rd. So I'm gonna give it a few more weeks, maybe a week or two, and see whether or not I want to do this, because there's obviously a fee of transferring funds and whatnot. So we'll see. But I'm very happy so far. It's pretty cool, and yeah, it's a lot of this is to do with trying to keep my head out of the funds, keep my emotions kind of out of it, where I can just dump money in. It does everything for me, and that's the dream. So, anyways, that is it for me today. Tune in. If the Yieldboost comes out tomorrow, I will for sure make a video tomorrow. If not, you'll probably see me next Sunday. And as always, I wish you guys a wealthy future.